The way this movie ended, though. Did not see that coming. What a cliffhanger. Well, since we have a part 2, good thing I'm all caught up. Yo, what is up, my Cinedroids? G to the S here. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Emily Blunt's newest survival of the fittest horror thriller, A Quiet Place. Part 1, that is. If they hear you, they hunt you. Jeez Louise, that's a tagline I'm going to be quoting on a daily basis from now on. Anyways, this movie's about a family who must live in silence to avoid mysterious creatures that hunt by sound. Knowing that even the slightest whisper or footstep can bring death, Evelyn, played by Mrs. Blunt herself, and her husband Lee, played by the director of this whole film as well, John Krasinski, are determined to find a way to protect their family while desperately searching for a way to fight back. Okay, first off, I gotta touch on the story of this movie real quick. Even though it's super short and I want it to last a little longer, this has got to be one of the most original concepts for a movie I have ever seen in a long time. I mean, I don't mind movies that are based off of a certain franchise, like the MCU, Star Wars, Disney movies based off of a character's origins, and so on and so forth. But what we really want is something new and creative to the table. And this movie has it. The basic concept is that whenever you make one peep, a loud exhale of breath, or even something that involves using your shoes to walk around that makes a lot of noise, those big spider-like monsters can detect sound, and once they see you make a sound, get the funeral ready, it's time to pay our respects to you. That's a well-executed, simple concept right there. And John Krasinski wrote the screenplay as well, so big kudos to him for bringing this story to life. Looking forward to seeing how he pulls it off writing the screenplay for the sequel. Fingers crossed. Also, in terms of character development, as well as the movie's amount of horror elements in the mix with the movie's amount of dramatic and emotional scenes, this is one of those movies that makes me care what they're going through in terms of their supernatural struggle to not only just producing silence throughout their everyday lifestyle, but also fighting off against those scary-looking insectoid creatures who hunt for literal human flesh. And now I gotta say, the way they look in terms of the movie's use of CGI is pure nightmare fuel. The way they function, communicate, and hunt for their prey is immensely frightening to watch, but in the most accurate and best way. This is set in a post-apocalyptic world, so expect some survival horror scenes. But the movie's use of CG, as well as the film's use of visual and practical effects, look insanely good. The CGI in this film is only used on those spider-like monsters. And to be honest with you guys, that's all I need in a movie like this. Props to both Paramount and Michael Bay's company, Platinum Dunes, for making the CGI feel like they're a force to be reckoned with, instead of just flooding this movie with just all CGI. That would have been highly distracting had that happened. But instead, they chose to take the risk route, and that's what I call well-executed filmmaking. Yes, I noticed that Michael Bay produced this film, but had he directed it, which thank God he didn't. But if he did, this whole film would have crumbled to a disappointing halt. So for once, I'm glad that he's sitting on the sports bench for this one. He is not fit to be in the director's chair, since I heard he screwed up all the Transformers movies, which I will get to review sooner on my schedule, so stay tuned for those. So I'm glad John Krasinski is taking over as director, because I know he's talented, and he can direct tension and suspense. Seriously, I was on the edge of my seat during scenes where everything has to be as silent as possible. There are moments where the characters are put into very threatening life or death situations, and you're just biting your nails anticipating how they're going to get out of that situation alive. And the actors really sell how big of a deal this environment is. And they're just hoping and praying that they would just survive and live to tell and joke about the whole thing by the time this whole hellish wasteland is over and done with. So again, John Krasinski, incredible job. Let's see how well he'll do in the sequel. Also, the camera work as well sells the hellish tone that the movie's going for. I have nothing else to say except color me impressed. In fact, not to harp on this point a lot, but we've come to expect high-class cinematography at this point, right? It's just inevitable. It's the pure staple of good Hollywood magic, after all. Even the pacing in the movie was lightning fast. I mean, there are moments where certain scenes seem a bit slow, but it's just that you're anticipating what's going to jump out at you.
And good thing I borrowed the DVD copy of this movie from the library, because I turned down the volume on my portable DVD player a lot throughout the whole entire film, so that way I won't get too startled.
I mean, there was one jump scare that startled the hell out of me, and I didn't see it coming. But mostly, since I know that something scary is about to jump out at me, I lowered down the volume a lot throughout the whole movie. And that's not a bad thing for me. But that still does not compromise the experience as a whole. So overall, guys, in the end, I have nothing negative to say about this movie. I'm gonna have to agree with the masses on this one. I thought A Quiet Place was a thrilling survival horror film if ever there was one. It was well paced, the characters were memorable, the horror elements in the film felt very intelligent, and the story was very original and unique. In short, it was very intense. So as a result, I rate A Quiet Place Part 1 a solid 5 out of 5 stars. This is not for your kids though. Wives, husbands, if you're watching this review, if you have little ones in front of you and you just want to watch this movie as a couple's night, tell your kids to skedaddle into their rooms tucked into their beds. Because there are a lot of scenes that involve bloody violence and spider-like creatures that feed on literal human flesh whenever they make a hint of loud noise. Just saying. So A Quiet Place. Have you seen it? If you haven't, what are you waiting for? Buy the Blu-ray or digital copy for yourself and watch it. It's super intriguing. But for those of you who have, come back and let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Also, if you like this video and you want to see some more, make sure that like button shines in your face. That'll totally help me out a ton. Also, share it with your family and friends and favorite it. That's a very good way to show support for this review. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell right next to you so you can be notified of future videos that I have in store for you. Also, if you want a shout out in a future video, just follow me on both Instagram and Twitter and I will choose one of my Cinedroids to be displayed as a shout out. The link's in the description below. And also, if you want to subscribe to my gaming channel, there's either a link in the description or at the icon card at the top right corner of the screen. Go over there, subscribe, and let's have fun together. But until then, I'll see you next time. Peace out.